Yes, I've had loads of plans, which has been brilliant, and I'm really glad. And thank you to those of you who've kind of said this is a really helpful process and it's kind of getting you back on track for the new cycle. So I'm glad it's working for you. And if ever it isn't, please do let me know, or if you've got suggestions or thoughts on how things could work better, I'm always open to that. So this is our first Advice Lounge call of the autumn cycle. So all except Jason have been on one of these calls before. Jason, these calls are very similar to a Momentum pod call. So it's open house, bring your questions, challenges, ideas, things that you want to explore. And we will explore them with you and help you solve them. So we'll do some check-ins first, and just let me know what you're celebrating today. I know it's early days in the new cycle. It doesn't have to be necessarily related to marketing or business, but what is your little win from the last few days or the last week or so? Morning, Jane. Nice to see you. We're just doing some quick check-ins. So, and yeah, let me know. And whilst we're doing that, let me know if there's anything you would like to talk about in the call this morning. So, Lou, how are things with you?
Things continue to be wonderful, thank you. Had another 2 clients in the yesterday, actually.
Amazing.
I know.
Amazing.
So that's all good. Yeah, everything's just great. I'm enjoying riding the wave, so let's just see if we can sustain it. I would like some advice. It's on pricing, actually, not so much marketing, but it's a client who missed a session yesterday, and it's the last session. They want me to, of a package for a child who's done phenomenally well, massive turnaround. They want me to do another session, and they offer to pay for it. But I'm struggling with my not good enough, that's too expensive voice, and I just wanted to get some feedback from the group, and maybe it's a bit of a pattern of mine, and yeah,
that's a great question. And pricing is a marketing question. So often pricing is part of how you deliver the service and the service you offer and how people buy. And all of that is part of your marketing. So absolutely, it's a good question to bring to the sanctuary. So yeah, thanks for that, Lou. Who wants to go next? Any volunteers? No, Joe, yeah, go on then, thank you. Jane, I'll come to you next.
I'm good, all good. Just enjoying a slightly less frenetic period at the moment, which is really nice. And getting quite a bit of headspace to do some marketing thinking, which is really great. So I'm enjoying that. So I would like some advice and thoughts about my key messages buckets that I've refined further, but I'm a bit of a goalposts kind of girl. I need to make sure I know what my goalposts are before I start trying to have a go at sorting them out. So that would be great.
Absolutely fine. Good question. Thank you. Jane, what are you celebrating today?
I'm celebrating just finished your replay on the planning session. So I've just done that. I will get my plan on the page to you today.
Excellent.
I've also just finished a 34-hour fast, which was odd. Yeah, don't know what came over me, but
yeah, why comes to my mind, but
yeah,
I think for you.
I think it's this looming operation. I want to be in tip-top condition, and these bloody podcasts you know, you just keep hearing things, and I mean, I think in a lot of ways it's quite bad, but I was listening to one on fasting and it was very interesting. And I thought, right, oh, well, I'll do 24 hours at some point. And then yesterday it was just like, actually, today's a really good day. I hadn't had breakfast, so I was out for a walk through lunch. So I just kept going. And then it got to 9 o'clock and I thought, actually, I'm just going to go to bed and give it another 10 hours. So yeah, 34 hours. Interesting.
How are you feeling?
Well, strangely, very nothing different at the moment at all. I did it very easily. I didn't get particularly hungry at all.
Mhm.
I know it was really odd, but I know I felt this morning I just really should eat something, even though I tempted to go. Anyway, but so that was interesting. And client's good. A client who's just finished his 3 months has re-signed for a few more months, and that reset resize guys, I'm really excited about him. He's doing really well, so I'll be another testimonial for that new program. So yeah, all is good, and it felt good doing that. So lots of brain dumps this morning, and one thing I think I've realized, Kay, is, you know, because we're doing this term, I'm just going to do one core project. And actually, do you know what? I think that suits me anyway, because all that other stuff, all the LinkedIn and the blog and the email, you know, that is like another project for me.
Yes,
It takes
is
up
for
so
anyone.
much headspace.
Yeah. Mm.
I was looking at my planner page from last time. It seemed so bitty, and I didn't feel I conquered an awful lot of it. So I think if I need to, I think one core project for me could be the way forward.
It works.
I feel a lot more comfortable.
Brilliant. Yeah. And the thing, I love that. And the reason now, a year or so ago, one of your projects your focus was getting into that habit of writing consistently, finding a way that worked for you, doing the planning, doing the writing, and getting relevant content out there, and realizing that it didn't matter if it wasn't perfect, and also realizing that it starts to work for you. So now you've got that's just part of your marketing rhythm now. So and yeah, you're right, it takes up a lot of time and energy, and at the moment just focus on one thing. In time you might find that when you can start repurposing stuff, you've got a lot that you can repurpose already. If you want to work on something else specific, that will give you a bit of space.
But while that was my core project, I got it done. But when I'm trying to make other projects and then keep that going, it really slipped at the end of last year. And that is so core to my marketing. I mean, that really is the center of so I think that just needs to stay as one of my
constants.
Yeah.
I
can't spin other plates and keep that on going at the same. I can't do it. I bet others could, but
no, and that's fine.
Debs could, but I can't.
Not about Debs, it's about you.
Exactly.
Okay, you in your little yellow box just there on my screen. That's all it's about. Is there anything you want to get help with today?
I don't think so. I could talk about the branding and things to think about, because I was trying to brain dump that. And it's a bit obvious. I don't know if there's anything else I'm missing, so maybe you can have a quick chat about that before I speak to somebody.
No, that's a really good question. Before you speak to someone, so
I've just sent a text to Helen saying I'm thinking I might refresh a bit of photography before my operation, if she can fit me in as well.
Good shout. Shout. Definitely we can look at that. And your 34-hour fast, there's a brilliant topic for a blog.
Well, it's an interesting one. I don't talk about fasting with my clients very much. I think it's quite frightening. I talk about shorter fasting, but possibly. Now I've got some evidence and
just from your experience, because they will be exposed to messages potentially going fasting's the thing, and your take on it is you don't talk to your clients about that. And that's, you know, it's just something to hang a point of difference on, just something to hang
Yeah.
on your authority and credibility, and just go, you know, I thought I'd try it, and this is how it was for me. And I am absolutely not recommending it to anyone. And
Yeah.
I kind of don't feel any different, and all of the other stuff that you don't believe it's brilliant for.
Well, I think it's very good for your gut health, and it's a rebase, and that's why I
Mm.
wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And the first thing I ate was a gut shot, you know, a probiotic kefir.
Thing.
Yeah. So yeah, but you can't see your inside your gut. You can't. So, you know.
No.
But
No.
I feel better. Yeah, I feel better
Yeah.
for doing it. Yeah. But yes,
Yeah.
that's a good idea, actually. I'll add that to my list. And I
Yeah.
have, that is one of my blogs, actually, is about time restricted eating. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and you do talk to people about that,
I do, yeah, very much.
you
Yeah.
know, not eating too late and all of that
Yeah.
stuff. So, yeah,
Great.
brilliant.
Okay.
Good, good. Thanks, Jane. Forgot to say where I was going next, so I'm just going to pick on Kyla.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm okay. I thought it was Wednesday today, which has thrown me slightly, but it's not, so that's fine. I'm gradually bringing myself back round to just think it's Tuesday today. That's very unusual for me. I'm a bit out of sorts, but I'm doing okay. I'm having a quieter time as well, so I've been doing loads of prep work for marketing bits and pieces, which feels good. And yeah, I'm celebrating being more visible on LinkedIn, which is something I wanted to do this year. So I've actually got a post out, I think 4 times this month, an extra over and above my core content. 2 pieces go out each week, but this is engagement or influence type stuff. So that's really good. And that will obviously take a hit whilst I'm away, but I'll pick it up again when I come back. I've got some ideas lined up for that, which so I feel like I'm slightly getting ahead of the game, which is the way I like to work. So yeah, that feels good.
Good stuff.
And linked to that slightly is my question for today is just a little one really on masterclass timings and whether there's a good day of the week or time of the day. It'd be really nice just to go around the room and see what people here would feel about that. I've put a LinkedIn poll up.
Good idea.
And I've got some feedback on that, which is good. But yeah, it'd be really good just to have a quick once around the room and see what people feel.
Yeah. Good, good. Yeah. Thank you. And do you not go on holiday tomorrow?
I do, yes.
So if you thought it was Wednesday, did you not think
I do, but tomorrow afternoon, so I've still got tomorrow morning. So yeah, it wasn't quite get up and grab the bags, but yeah.
Yeah.
I was slightly too excited ahead of myself.
Yeah, you were already there.
So when you're feeling out of sorts, that's incredibly disappointing to feel like you have to wait another 24 hours.
It is quite, to be frank. Yeah. Lovely seeing you all and everything, but
yeah, but you don't want to be here anymore, and it's raining again. So, okay, brilliant. Thanks, Kyla. That's a good question. Joe. Oh no, I've done you. Sorry, Joe. It's all the J's. I was thinking Jason, Julia. Jason, how are you doing?
Yeah, no, I'm doing well.
You've been busy.
I have been busy. So yeah, I don't actually have any kind of questions today.
Okay.
I've got the ones from the Facebook book group from yesterday to go through. And celebrating, I've had kind of 2 clients now kind of renew their hours for
brilliant.
For the next lot. But then also kind of on a personal note, I've kind of set myself a challenge. I'm 40 in July, and I lost a lot of weight kind of during COVID and all that, but then kind of slowly brought back on. So I calculated from Sunday I had 24 weeks till my birthday. So I've set myself a challenge of 40 and 40. So lose 40 pounds by 40. So
wow.
So yeah, they kind of started yesterday in earnest. So yeah, we'll see how far I get with that.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Jane has lots of useful resources if you need any help with that, of course.
Thank you.
That's brilliant, Jason, and I love that. Well, Jane will know all about that. Having something to work towards is
Yeah, and
always
I'm
a
making it.
motivator on our
I'm
help.
making it very public as well to really make me accountable as well.
Well done. Good stuff. You can always put it on your accountability report check-ins every week if you want to. I know it's not marketing related, but if you feel like you need to,
Yeah, will do.
please do that. How did you find doing the, I haven't looked in the Facebook group this morning yet, so you might have answered that question, but all of that kind of foundational work, did you find it helpful? And
Yeah, I have found it helpful. I did look at all your comments yesterday. I just haven't had time to really
that's all
properly,
right.
think through
Yeah.
everything yet, but it was very helpful. Thank you.
Good stuff. Thanks, Jason. And Julia, how are things with you today? What are you celebrating?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. Not a bad start to the week. Although my tool shed blew over yesterday morning and landed on my kitchen windowsill. So instead of listening to the video of the planning, I was out in the rain trying to reconstruct my shed.
Oh my
so
goodness.
yeah, that wasn't a celebration, but yeah. So,
No, not a
but I
great
managed
start to
to,
the week.
yeah. I know, but I felt better for doing it. I managed to tidy out my whole shed, so that was okay. It's like one of those upright tool sheds. Somehow it managed to blow over. I have no idea how. Anyway, that's an aside. What am I celebrating? Yeah, a difficult one. Some of you may remember that very old debt that I had, which is going on since last May, which I did chase it, but there has been a fundamental problem of getting a purchase order number and getting people, literally this has been going on for another 2 months since I brought it up. And last week I actually got the purchase order. So I could, but then I've now got to resubmit the
re-invoice. Amazing.
It is now in the system with the right documentation. So there is some chance I might get paid. But more importantly, because my client has been very silent, because clearly by now she's really embarrassed and doesn't want to book the last session because of this. But on her email, well, 2 things have happened. One, the day she sent me the thing about the purchase order, she made some lovely comment about how phenomenal my input had been and how much it had changed.
Brilliant.
That. Followed by, I woke up on Saturday morning and she posted on LinkedIn that she's got a massive new job at a university, which was actually her core, goal for our coaching. So clearly, whatever we did prior to all this shit stuff was worth it. And she's been working in the background and has delivered herself this amazing new job. So this is deferred, like a referred celebration. It's not my celebration, but I'm very, very pleased for her. But I haven't yet spoken to her because she's still too embarrassed to speak to me, I think. So hopefully I can rectify that in the next few weeks. So I obviously messaged her when I saw this. But
I was just going to say, just
I did.
Get in
I
touch
did.
and
But
have a chat.
I think she wanted. And then she replied, "Oh, I wanted to tell you about this." But I'm going like, "Oh, people are funny, aren't they?" Because I said, "Well, it's not." The money thing wasn't her.
It's not her.
Well, I mean, it was her responsibility to resolve it, and that did take forever. But clearly, the cogs at this university move very, very slowly, and she clearly didn't have the right influence in the right area. But we got there in the end. So anyway,
brilliant.
So that's my celebration, I think. In terms of question, I don't have a very big question, but given that I'm going to start thinking about this website stuff in the next few weeks, I suppose my question would be, for those that have websites, what might be the advice or the 1 or 2 things that you would do differently if you were starting a website from scratch now?
Great question. I'm sure Jason's got lots of thoughts on that. That is a good question, just to think about what things to think about, a bit like
the things that you wish you'd thought about, or the things that the places you might have started if you started again.
Okay, good stuff, thank you. There's some great questions there this morning, and we've got time to do all of them because they're not huge, any of them, so Good stuff. Lou, your pricing question then, do you want to tell us what the situation is?
So the situation is I was due to have my last session with a child yesterday, and they didn't turn up on Zoom. I contacted the mother. She said, oh yeah, just hopping on. And then they still didn't turn up. So I contacted again and she said, oh yeah, it's just gone to get something. Anyway, they never showed up. And then I sent a message saying, I hope everything's okay. Mum's a lawyer. I know she's very busy. Normally I see him in a school lunchtime, so the school get him to where he's supposed to be, but it was take your child to work day. So she's with him. Lovely family. Brilliant. Really good client. Anyway, long story short, he didn't make it, but I sat here online waiting. I mean, okay, I answered a couple of messages and stuff, but I wasn't able to use that time properly. So I feel it's, in the past, I'd have gone, oh, that's okay, we'll rearrange, but I don't feel that now. And also my contract, it does say if someone doesn't show without warning, that's fine. I don't have to repay the time. So eventually I got a message back from the mum saying, I'm so sorry, I was in meetings, he was ages. And again, my gut feeling was to go, oh, don't worry, rearrange, but I didn't. I stopped myself. And I sent one just saying, that was our last session. It's a shame to let it fizzle out like that because he's been so good. And she came back and said, oh, Lou, find me another time and I'll pay for an extra session. So that's all good. Apart from I have this whirl in my head about what to charge. So I'm going to share some numbers with you because to me, I mean, this child's literally turned around from reading nothing to just reading everything he needs to read. Okay, in 10 weeks.
Amazing.
So the job's done and it's phenomenal, and they couldn't be happier. So I base my rate on 160 an hour. That also it's okay. Obviously, a package is a bit different, but if it was to be a one-off time, then it works. I would base it on that, which to me feels like a lot, but you know, that's what I'm worth it. I have to keep saying that. If I work out the price, he ended up with a 10-hour package, which is a little bit longer than most people get, just because he was so much fun to work with. So his each session, if you like, worked out about £100 an hour per session. So my gut feel, well, not gut, my gut feeling is just give him the hour back, but I'm not going to do that. My sort of thinking is, should I email the mother and say, that's brilliant, I've got a slot here, and then say normally a one-off charge is this much. However, you know, I've so enjoyed working with Taylor, I'm going to do it for 100. Or does that still sound that still makes me feel a bit like, oh, that's a lot to ask. So yeah, help.
Oh, Jo, straight in.
Mum's a lawyer?
Yeah, they can afford it.
Yeah,
they really can.
Mum's a lawyer. She's not charging, and she's not dropping her prices for anyone, mate.
Right.
She's not going low.
Yeah, probably
You
not.
know,
They're
her
very
firm,
wealthy.
it might not be her personally, but her firm is not going in there low, and they're not going, oh, we'll give you a discount, unless it's in exceptional circumstances.
Yeah.
So I think what you were proposing sounds entirely reasonable to me. I would squirm like hell as well.
Thank you.
I think it sounds entirely reasonable.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Jo. Julia, did you have something to say?
Oh yes, I've got lots to say. On this one, so if this was me, I'd be thinking, I mean, yes, I think I agree with everything that Jo said. She can clearly afford to pay. She clearly knows the sort of rate you do charge because you've already charged it and she's paid it and you've delivered. So I'd be thinking maybe if it was the last one, I think I would be charging similar to what the rate was for the package. That if it was me, I'd be charging about the 100 quid, I think. Because the other thing about a final session is generally perhaps you're not delivering as much value because it's a roll-up session than you are in the middle of the work.
Yeah.
So if it was me, I'd probably be charging the 100 quid. But I certainly wouldn't be saying, I normally charge this and I'm going to charge you that. Decide what you want to charge, what you think is fair, and just say the price is
Well, you see, that's really useful because she has said she may well come back to me later for more time with him. So if it's £100, that's going to be £100 ongoing.
Well, you could just explain, well, as part of the package that you received originally,
Yeah.
the average price per session was that. And I
Okay.
would therefore be prepared to offer that
Okay.
as an
Mhm.
extension to our original
Mhm.
arrangement.
Ah, I like that.
I mean,
Okay.
yeah, of course, tell us 160 quid if you prefer to, but I'm
Yeah,
just
no,
saying from my perspective, what I
yeah,
would
it's a
do
good
is X.
perspective. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, fab. Thank you very much. Because there's not report writing and things now, whereas normally, of course, that all adds extra time on. Whereas, as you say,
Yeah.
this last session won't be generating so much of that.
Yeah, so if you
Mm.
clarify what it is this last session will deliver, then, and it's
Like
really
it.
just a round off, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's still your time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks very much.
Yeah, your gut's right, Lou. You're bang on
Yeah.
right.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, lots of nodding, lots of
It's so
Yeah,
hard
I
for me to do that.
yeah, I can't really add very much to advice you've already had. Absolutely, the thing that I picked up on was because I've enjoyed working with him.
Yeah, I was gonna...
That is not a commercial reason to on which to base your pricing. Okay.
Okay.
Because, if you get somebody that you hate working with, are you going to charge them more?
No, it's very true. But I might, yeah, well, if I hated working with them, I'd probably charge the
Wouldn't work with them.
106. Well, no,
Yeah.
I wouldn't. And I would have said, I'm so sorry, that was our last session. I'm fully booked now. I can't.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
We
tricky,
might
isn't it?
feel it, but we
Don't
don't
say it.
express that. It's a business arrangement, and as Jo said, she's a lawyer, and but actually I think it's important to look at this as something more general rather than in this specific case.
Okay.
Because if you look at it in this specific case, next time it happens, you'll be like, oh, well, I really liked that person and she was a lawyer and that was okay. But this person, haven't made quite so much progress. You'll start questioning yourself. You'll start thinking, well, can I do that?
That is me all over. Yeah.
This is your terms of business. This is how you work. What you might want to do as a kind of learning from this is to, and I don't know whether you've done this already, make sure that the packages that you offer are very clear what's included, what isn't, and what can people buy. Do they buy a 10-week? Do they buy 6 weeks? And I know it depends how much progress the child makes, but can you think about
that
something?
that is clarified even. Yeah, that part is very clarified. I've got a contract now and the parents have to agree to criteria for the end of it and things. So that is
great.
The follow-on thing, I've never really.
So maybe there's a follow-on package that you could think about, like a check-in once a month or something like that, to see how the children and the families are doing, as a way of keeping in touch with the families, reminding them how well their child is doing, and giving them an opportunity to pick up on if anything's, because there will be things that will upset the children at times through their school life, and that might send them off a little bit.
I do,
I don't know.
That's great. I like that because I do have actually I had a client who wanted to continue today. I do have when I finish, you can book more sessions with me, and it's you buy this many and you get this many free.
Yeah.
You buy this many, you get this many free. There's not a very big take up, and I wonder what this one family, see, it's difficult again, isn't it? See, this one family again, they're very well off, they're very happy, they're happy to pay me, and as someone said, that's what you can earn an hour. You shouldn't drop it down just because you've already done the bulk of the work. You could be earning that with someone else. But I also wonder if the follow-on packages were slightly less, say at the 100 an hour rather than based on the other figure, if I'd get more of them. But then I'm not helping so many kids get over the real hurdle, so I'm a bit
It's one to think about. You don't have to
Yeah.
decide now. It's just one
Yeah,
to
food for thought.
ponder.
Thank you.
But these things usually give us some kind of learning for something else as well.
Absolutely.
So
Thank
yeah,
you.
good. Thanks. Joe, did
Out of
you have
interest,
something?
Just out of
Okay,
interest,
go
Lou,
on,
how
Jane.
old was the child? How old was the boy?
12.
Wow. Okay.
Good stuff. Joe, did you have something to add at that point?
Oh, it's just to clarify, really, that I only brought up the parental profession as an illustration of costings, not oh,
Yeah.
she's a lawyer, she can afford it, and that
Mm.
kind of thing. It was just they're not going to be equivocal about their
Yeah.
Yeah. So
their costings. They're going to say this is the cost and this is what it is, unless they're they're doing pro bono work or special
Yeah.
work
Yeah.
in very exceptional circumstances.
And it,
Yeah.
and it should be the same for everybody, and it should be clear for me, because it would save me so much time going
Yeah.
out in my head.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
I'm a teacher over a businesswoman generally, I think.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can really, I'm
Yeah.
on that page myself, mate. I
Yeah.
understand.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. But yeah, brilliant. Good stuff, Lou. Thank you for that. That was a really good question. So yeah. Right. So Kyla, I'm going to come to your question, because I think that's quite a quick one to answer. And then we'll look at your key message buckets, Joe, and Jane and Julia's questions are a little bit similar. Okay,
Okay.
masterclasses, timings.
Yeah, masterclass probably around about an hour long, sort of 45 minutes plus Q&A time. So it could extend out a little bit, but base it on an hour. I'm thinking of Wednesday or a Thursday during week, but potentially Friday as well. Definitely Tuesday. And the poll I put on LinkedIn was just to find out whether people would prefer a morning session, a lunchtime session, or an afternoon session. And the results so far, just a few of them are equal mornings, equal afternoons, which is not really helpful, but it's nice to kind of put the word out and plant the seed and see what people think. So it'd be really interesting just to go around the room and see what people, obviously diaries and workflows and all the rest of it will change. Different people have different requirements and it depends on the week, but generally, when would feel best for you if you were going to take an hour out to do a masterclass, an online workshop, whatever? If you had a free week, when would you plug it into your week?
Okay.
I think Wednesday or Thursday would be good days for me. Fridays I do some volunteering work, so I'm generally not around then. But when I've sort of got my momentum up for the week, Wednesday or Thursday, good call for me. But that's a very personal thing.
Okay, and would you go mornings or afternoons or?
I afternoon, I think, because then I can try to get clear the decks, as it were, and then if there's unfinished business, I know what I need to pick up at the end of the day. So
Yep, interesting. I'm in that camp.
If they sign up, can they watch the replay? Is there a
still to be decided, probably.
Is it on Facebook? You can do it on Facebook or LinkedIn?
No, it'll be a Zoom thing.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay, right, okay.
So I can't decide whether to run a recording or not. Yes, yet to be determined. I don't really want to advertise that upfront, because I think then a lot of people do sign up for stuff and don't.
And they don't watch it. I know. It's an impossible one, because everybody's got different diaries. I can't give you a. For me personally, Thursday afternoon would work, but it just have to. It's trial and error. I think it's experiment.
It's useful to have the recording, but I'm a bit rubbish at watching the recordings.
I think everybody is
in the event.
I think I'd be selfish and go with what works for you, and just and see. I don't know. Is there an optimum time, Kay? I don't know.
I've just written down, go with what works for you. Because
well, I suspect I largely will, but it's kind of interesting to see how the general picture shapes up.
If you get down the rabbit hole of trying to find out what day of the week, whether, what time, what morning, afternoon, evening, lunchtime, blah, blah, blah. Different people will have different opinions. Different people have different styles of working.
Mhm.
Their energy is different at different days, different times of the day. You will just end up in a cycle of procrastination trying to decide what time of day to run the
Absolutely.
workshop.
It's definitely an
So-
exercise in getting a bigger picture and seeing
Yes.
whether everyone would go for afternoons generally, or
Yeah.
it would absolutely fit in with my diary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Jane's right. Try it out. The Fearless Marketing workshops, I have run some at 10 in the morning, some at 12, and some at 2:30. 2:30 I found absolutely didn't work for me. I was just in a big slump and
Right.
I didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, didn't do it again. And 10 o'clock or 12 o'clock seemed to be all right. So maybe if you're going to be running them regularly,
Yeah.
just alternate the times so that people who have fixed things at fixed times in their day can come at different times.
Mhm.
I've set up a lot of webinars for clients, and the days that they normally go for is Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. Sometimes it's like half 12, kind of
Yeah.
lunchtime. Then
Okay.
Yeah.
and then it's either then at 7 at night,
Mm.
or for another client it's 4 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah,
also when
yeah.
it comes to the recordings and that, sometimes they run it with the recording and then some without. And the amount of questions they get kind of before or kind of after is there a recording? Because sometimes
Yeah.
they can't make those times.
Yeah.
So some of those people will watch the recordings, but you also get a lot that ask for the recordings and then never watch any of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. I
Yes.
think maybe I promote it and not mention whether there's a recording and get people to ask, and then probably record it and send it out as almost a bonus.
Yeah,
If
but
you
even
will.
if you don't,
Yeah.
even if you don't send it out, it's something value for you as well to kind of watch it back as well to see if there if it's in the presentation or anything like that you could improve on. But
Yeah.
it's other content for you to use down the line as well.
Yeah, that's a very
Yes, that's a great point.
good. Thank you.
Thanks, Jason. That's helpful. Yeah, 7 o'clock in the evening or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, absolutely not for me. I mean, I saw you shaking your head as well, but some people it works. Yeah, Lou.
Yeah.
Much as I'd love to tell you exactly when I'd like to have it, Kyla, selfishly, from my own experience, I have experimented with so many times, so many recording it or not recording it. I can't find a pattern. I really can't find a pattern. It seems to depend on the weather, the day, the time. I don't know. So
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. Go with what works for you, and the rest, we'll have to fit around that. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Good. Thank you. I hope that's helped, Kyla.
It has. Thank you, everyone.
Good. Joe, key message buckets. You're muted.
God, after all those years, you'd think you'd learn, wouldn't you? But no.
we all do it.
Am I allowed to share screen?
Oh,
Can I
yes.
show you
Yes,
my-
let me do
Can
that.
I show you my descriptions
Your
of my-
buckets. There you go.
I did actually go back and rewatch that's very weird. Why are you not okay, sorry, I did go back and rewatch the recording of the training session so that I could just try to make sure I'd got my okay, now I can see what I'm doing. So I could make sure I got myself organized. And what I'm really, you can see Kay behind on my little Trello board, I've got that screenshot of your marketing journey and then the different phases, just as a reminder for me behind that. But I just kind of want to make sure that I've I've broadly got my descriptions of what should be in each bucket, right?
Mhm.
And what I did take from obviously being in the training session and then re-watching the training session is it not to fret wildly about stuff being in one place or another, and to recognize that messages can have multiple purposes, and they
Yes.
hit multiple kind of targets, if you like. But yeah,
Exactly that. And it's sometimes I when I share this with people, either in one-to-one work or here or in the workshops or whatever, people can get a little bit hung up on, well, what kind of
Yeah.
message is that? What kind of message is that? And you're absolutely right. Some will go across all of them. The point of it is just to make sure you're aware of the journey that your potential audience is going on, and that you're kind of talking to them at different stages of that journey to help them move along that. So yeah, what have you, so yeah, the problem you solve, all about establishing authority, establishing credibility, helping it. At that point, it's about them recognizing themselves in what you're saying. That's the most important thing at that very early stage. They, if they're reading stuff and going, oh my God, she's inside my head, she's been spying on me, that's the kind of response you want
okay.
at that point. Then the how you solve the problem, the inspiration, the showing how life can be. Yeah, that's what you've got. Tackling objections, worries, fears, all of those things, because they're going to be going, maybe not, maybe it's not for me, blah, blah, blah. Invitation, describe how people work with me, what does it look like, examples. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I think that is the thing, and we've touched on that with Lou this morning, about that kind of making it easy for people to see, what is it I'm buying, what does it look like, what will I get? We all want to know what's in it for me, and make that easy, and at this, for you at this point, it's all going to be about having conversations, actual in-person or Zoom or phone conversations. You're not going to be asking people to sign up for things or get forms or whatever. The why me is that's where kind of a little bit more of the personality stuff can come in, and some of the behind the scenes stuff, some of the and the delighting is obviously about doing brilliant work for your clients, so that they will then tell everyone you're
recommend
amazing.
you or come back.
Or come back. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so does it feel like I've broadly got those descriptors
yes,
right? I need
absolutely.
to stop thinking about it now and get on and start filling my buckets. Yes.
You said that, Jo, not me, but yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Unless anybody has got anything else, any other observations with fresh eyes on it. No, all good. Thank you.
That's all right, Jo. You're welcome. And it always it kind of inspires me when I see how people respond to that training, because some people, so Nikki, she and I did a one-to-one foundations program before she joined the Sanctuary, and she just had like massive bits of paper on her wall with different coloured post-its in the different buckets. I worked with a client who gave me an Excel spreadsheet with lots of boxes and lots of words. But it worked for him. So it absolutely has to be how it works for you, but just hold in your head that those different touch points. So yeah, brilliant, Joe. Thank you. Lou, yeah.
Can I say
And-
thank you, Joe? Because I've just looked at that and it's been really helpful for me the way you've put it. Thank you very much. I scribbled some of your thoughts. I hope that's all right.
Oh, they're
Very
mostly
much.
Kay's thoughts that I've
Well,
translated.
Kay's thoughts putting your way. The two, I need layers, you see.
Don't give me credit for Kay's ideas.
Kay's was really useful. Seeing it like that from yours has just
Yeah.
filtered it a bit more. So thanks.
It's seeing how other people interpret something is always valuable. So yeah, thanks, Lou. Kyla, did you have?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I've also found, and it may just be the way it works for me, that actually if you have an idea pop in your head, or you're inspired to write about a particular something, or in response to something else, then just write it and don't worry about it. They mentioned it before, but don't get hung up on that. I've tripped myself up terribly.
Yeah. Oh, which box is it in?
You just want to write stuff and just make sure that you are ticking all 4 buckets every now and again, and that you have got things covered. But more importantly, put yourself out there and be visible. And
get on with
it.
Yeah, that's great advice, Kyla. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you. So Julia, your website. So what do we wish we'd done when we were planning our web? Can I just say one thing before we get into that, is that your website isn't a thing that you create and then it remains exactly like that for the rest of its life and your life. It evolves, it grows, it's a living thing that supports your marketing. So anything that you do miss, you can always add later. So yeah. So any thoughts? Jason, I'm sure you'll have some thoughts on this, but shall we see what other people have got to say and then we'll come to you? Yeah. Kyla.
Okay, so I'm talking from experience. I have 2 websites, and I designed them myself in terms of the 2D designs, if you like, and then gave them to someone like Jason to make magic happen and do all the technical wizardry. I didn't want my websites at the time looking like every other website that was out there at the time, which was just one horizontal strip after another. But in hindsight, and I still would want them to be very different, but in hindsight, the horizontal strip one after the other is much, much easier to update and to maintain yourself. So I've kind of tripped myself up a little bit in that mine look different and people actually remember them for being a little bit different. I found, but they're not as easy just to jump in and update, because one thing generally has a knock-on effect on another. So I would go for, if I was doing it again, I'd go for a simple design and just use the colors and the design elements to try and make it look different rather than a bit plain.
Thank you. Good shout. Thank you. Jane or Joe or Lou, any thoughts? Joe. Joe.
I wish I knew how to drive my website better. how to do the behind the scenes stuff. And because I'm sure when I went to update bits, I'm sure I'm doing it longhand, clunky, making an absolute meal of it. There must be an easier way. But I also wonder if elements of it have suffered the same thing as Kyla, really, in that the way that it's put together just makes it blooming awkward to, like, because of what I do. I have a publications page, that's part of my credibility. So when I have a new publication out, academic tradition suggests that you put your most recent publication at the top. And God, the faff of moving everything down so I can get something. Jason, I'm going to have a moment with you one day so you can go, oh my God, you're doing it that way. So my tip would be, get some basic lessons in how to drive the thing so that when you do want to make a little tweak, you don't have to spend a day swearing to achieve it.
But Julia, are you starting with a blank piece of paper here? Is
Yeah,
it
completely blank. Yeah.
so I think if to decide what you want on each page, so about your services, and just tackle one at a time and brain dump blur and then throw it to a copywriter to make sense of it and shorten it, because I'm so wordy and I could just, and it needs to be concise and to the point, because people's attention span on websites are so short. But I would just start to pick one of those titles and get going, because otherwise it seems such a mountain, but really it's not. Just take it in bite-size chunks.
So you're suggesting, decide what do that sort of customer journey piece at the beginning, which is, I think, what Kyla said. So she basically wrote out everything that she wanted on it first and then handed it over. So you're saying,
yeah, I would do that, absolutely, because it's your customer that's going to be reading the website, not you. That's what for your audience. What I was going to add quickly to that before was on the back end things, as well as working out what you want to have on your website from a blank piece of paper point of view. Try and imagine a year down the line what changes you might like to be making to certain pages. So maybe you've got a new service you update, or you want to update your prices. Try and think ahead about what updates and changes you would like to make, and make sure that whoever you get to design the thing for you understands the way that you work. Because I'm in Joe's camp as well. I found that the way that the designer I worked with, developer now, sets things up is not intuitive to me. So if you can, it's a tricky thing to do, but if you can find someone who understands how you would want to tackle an update, that will look at things hugely in the future, and make your life much, much easier. But yeah, everything from a blank piece of paper onwards has got to be aligned to your customer and what they want to see from your website, not necessarily what you want to tell them on your website.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thinking about how it might need to
point.
evolve is a really good point. Yeah.
Is this making it worse, Julia?
No, it's just trying to get me to start thinking.
I would
to start thinking about the so I haven't done the project plan for this yet, so this is why I was asking this question now. So I was just going so obviously there's the bit about choosing somebody to do it, but actually I haven't done any of the thinking around the pages or the whatever. I've got some ideas, but I haven't slotted these things in. So it was more about informing me to be able to write this plan effectively and try and slot it into the right sort of order.
Lou, did you have any thoughts?
I did it horribly long-winded and in difficult way, and I'm getting better at tech, but even so everything everyone said, absolutely. If I was to do it again, I would definitely have my copy ready way in advance. I would definitely have planned what I needed and the copy for each page way in advance. I kind of did it the other way. I got a system, got someone who vaguely knew how to do it. We sat and did the whole lot together. I mean, it was ridiculous, really. Luckily, it was a friend. And I agree with Kylie, you've got to be able to sort it out yourself, because I found my lovely friend who wanted desperately to help me, because she's right behind me, was never available when I needed her. So the tiniest thing I needed to do, I was always waiting, and it was painful. So definitely a system that you can get to grips with that isn't a nightmare to deal with. But yeah, everything everyone else has said, I agree with completely.
And Kyla, were you going to say something else then?
I was just going to ask Julia what sort of idea she's got in her head, and whether that would be useful just to talk through on real basic level ideas for pages, even. What do you think your customer wants to hear about you or see about you?
I'm not sure I'm ready to share that yet. But nothing very. I mean, the whole idea is that this is simple, so I need to stop myself getting anywhere near complex. So I think there's a couple of examples of websites of people who do similar things to me, which I'm going to use as a basis, because I think it would be very easy for me to overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely want to start small and simple, but I can definitely see that there's going to be a time down the line where I might want to evolve it and add more, because I always want to add more. So that point about knowing how you're going to evolve it, if you need to, is really pertinent. So to me, it might be a phase 1, simple, functional, and a phase 2, which is the things I might need to add later on are these things. So that's the way I think I'm going to tackle it.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to tackle it. I would think about obviously think about your audience, but think about what you want it to do for you as well. You know, how do you want to be kind of people? What do you want people to access? Do you want it to give people free resources? Do you want it the kind of thing that you think your audience might find helpful? Is it just a couple of pages, this is who I am, come and find me on LinkedIn? What's your objective? What's it for? So have some thoughts about that. Definitely look at some other examples, and look at examples that are not in your industry. I think we talked about that the other day. Just because you get other ideas. So Jason,
I'm all ears, Jason, all ears.
Yeah, kind of. First of all, and I say this with a lot of my clients as well, is to, as Kay just said, is to identify what the goal of the website is first, because that will help in what goes on the website and all that as well. You know, if it's just going to be what I would call a brochure website, where you're just putting a couple of pages on, just describing what you do, or if it's going to be more functional in helping you gain leads and things like that, like having, you know, free opt-ins, landing pages, and all of that as well, because that will help with the design as well. Because you know, with some clients I've had where all of a sudden they decide, oh, I want to add a free opt-in, but their design doesn't fit where they want to put it, and they end up just having a pop-up box come up when people try to leave the site and all that, which is good, but it's also very annoying for some people. So you don't want it to be an afterthought. With my clients as well, because I'm not a graphics designer. I don't design the websites before on a piece of paper, because to me that actually adds about 2-3 months to a project, because they want to tweak little things like that. I build it directly on, you know, on the web, because what you see is what you get, and you can see how it's going to look on different screens, etc. But also, as Kay said, look at different websites and seeing what you like from those websites. It doesn't have to be the whole website. It could be how they've done the navigation, how they've you know, designed a certain aspect of it, because that then starts kind of, even though you're taking elements from other websites, it's starting to put those together and create something more unique for you. But then also choosing the right platform for it. I build all my client websites on WordPress, but I have page builders and all that, which makes it easy for clients to edit it themselves. Because, you know, as everyone has said, you know, when you want to make the changes yourself, you don't want to have to wait for someone to make those changes for you. Plus, they're probably going to charge you, you know, a big fee just to make small little changes. You want to be able to do that. Now, again, when I did with clients, everything is built so that they can edit it themselves. But also, and I do this with all my clients, is I do a training session afterwards, so that they understand how to edit it and all that. I actually recently just redid Farat's website as well, because she had hers built on the Wix platform. Now, nothing against Wix, but for me, it's not the greatest platforms to build something on, especially when down the line you want to add other features to it. Sometimes these services they tie you in, but then they don't have the features that you might want down the in the future. And then all of a sudden you've got to try and move your website to another platform, and you're kind of going through this whole process again. So it's looking at that as well, kind of things that you might not want now, but some things you think actually in the future I might want to be able to do that. have I got the flexibility to do that? Because you don't want to be tied into a platform where it doesn't scale with you. And also when it comes to the text on your website, and I'm, you know, I fall foul of this as well on my own website, and then I'm actually in the process of redoing mine as well, is actually having too much text on your website, where you want to explain your whole life story and all your services in great detail. People, when they visit a website now, they skim it. They don't read every sentence. So don't kind of fall into the trap that, oh, I've got to write this huge pages of text to describe my services, or that. Have the main points and the benefits and all of that on there, but have a call to action, and have a call to action on every page, and only have one call to action. You don't want to have multiple ones saying, oh, download my free report, call me, all of those, because it confuses that person. And again, look at your customer journey. So have a call to action. And if it is going to be just, book a call, have that as your main call to action. You don't want too many on there, which confuses everyone. And then they don't actually do any of them.
Brilliant. Thanks, Jason. I think it is future-proofing. Thinking ahead is really important. Thinking about your audience and thinking about what you want the website to do for you are the 3 kind of umbrella points I would kind of bear in mind all the way through. But yeah, thanks, Jason. That's really helpful. Yeah, exciting stuff, I guess.
Yes, it's quite daunting, but yeah, I feel like I go down lots of rabbit holes on this, so I'm really determined not to go down too many or any actually, and just try and keep my head above water on it. So yeah. Simplicity is the key here for me.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. And
I am excited to get started. My danger is that it's going to like pull me off the other things I should be doing. I just really need to try and keep it in check, keep to my project plan.
We are here to help you keep it in check. So yes, good stuff. Thank you. And good. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Thank you everyone for all your thoughts on that. Jane, so similar vein, branding exercise, things to think about.
Yeah, so
you've got some thoughts, did you say?
Yeah, well, it's just, but I think they're the fairly obvious thoughts, about revisit the ideal client, although I think I've I could spend a little bit of time on that, thinking about my core values. I know that comes up when you're looking at brand, isn't it? Just styles and colors, things I'm thinking of there, looking at others' websites and branding and what I like about them. Everything out, and anything else before I go and speak to somebody about this? Am I missing anything?
I don't think you are, because I think what will happen is when you have the conversation with someone, or when you have conversations with someone, if they're a good designer, their job is to help you explore the things that will help them do the best possible job. So you've got the basics. If I was talking to somebody who didn't have a clue, who their dream client was, and they were talking to me about what to do about getting a brand, I would say don't talk to anybody about getting a brand. I'd say do that bit first. But you've done that, and you've got a good understanding, and what you stand for and your values and what have you. So no, I mean, it's obvious because it's the most important stuff and it's the right stuff. So yeah.
What I stand for, that's another good one. Okay. Yeah. Great.
Kyla, have you got some thoughts?
I would just say that alongside all that, think about blending what your ideal client is potentially thinking of you, how they're perceiving you at the moment before they know you too well, and then what they think about you once they get to know you, and going into sort of the personality of your business, if you like, and make sure that whoever you speak to to do the design work with you has a feel for who you are and
Yeah.
how you work. So maybe give them some of your blogs or show them, make sure they've seen some of your LinkedIn posts and your style.
Right.
That you're not just a nutrition expert and they start thinking, oh, let's go green, let's go blue. You know, it'll be more detailed than that, but give them a flavour of who you are, a true flavour of who you are up front, so they can get under the skin of that.
Yeah.
Conversation.
Yeah. And they should, I kind of think they should uncover that in their conversations with you about the work. So, but yeah, I totally get where you're coming from, Kyla, that you will get a feel when you talk to people. If you've got a couple of people to talk to, you'll get a feel for, and trust your gut on who feels like the right person to work with for you. Because if you're talking to someone and it doesn't feel like they get you, they won't ever get you, you know, kind of.
Yeah.
That's really,
Okay.
it's got to feel like it's yours. You've got to own it.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good point, Kyla, as well. Yeah. Okay.
Any other thoughts on that? Julia, yeah, you've just done a similar exercise.
Well, yeah, I've just done a similar exercise. Clearly, I didn't go out and choose. I did choose somebody, but it was actually somebody I already knew who knew me. They don't know much about the business I do now, but they have worked with me in the past. So I sort of, that did shortcut some of it. But I provided him with a brief, which included all things like my ideal client and the impact that I have. And also a whole list of words about, who I am, the sorts of, the way I want to be perceived in the market, and any problem areas about things that the way I want to be perceived and I'm not sure I am yet type things. So there was, I think doing some of that work independently before you meet people is a really good idea, because, obviously what they get from you when they interview you, or they take your brief is one thing, but actually they don't see the whole of you. So you actually putting that together in some sort of format, I think is really helpful for people. And I actually found it really helpful. It was actually work that I'd done probably 3 years ago, but I updated it. And I think that was the thing that he found most helpful. But I mean, I'm happy to send you a copy of it. It's like I had to scan it in, so I could just send it to you.
That would be really helpful, actually, Julia. And were you happy with the outcome?
I am happy with the outcome. We're not quite there yet. There's a few bits and pieces left, but yes, I have chosen some stuff, and he came up with 3 or 4 options to start with, approaches. I chose one and we've just gone with that. So yeah.
Right. But yeah, no, I think you're right, Kyla, because it's all very well how you're perceived, but it's how I am. Yeah, it's quite different actually, I think, as well. So
what you want to come across.
You've already got a brand out there or something. So I suppose it's also identifying why that doesn't work for you and how you want it to be different. What else do you want?
Yeah.
Whereas I started with, I didn't have a brand, any sort of branding. So that was slightly different for me. But you must have ideas about why you think it isn't really doing what you need it to do at the moment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Julia. Yeah. You've done a lot of the thinking, so it's
just get on with it.
Also exciting.
Yeah.
And enjoy the process. It's such a brilliant process to go through, because it helps you kind of get under the skin of your business a bit and kind of get excited about it all over again. So
yeah, it's the fun side of it, isn't it?
Yes, and they should absolutely definitely give you some options to explore initially, kind of early stage ideas, rather than just coming back and going, I've done this, here you are. That is not a designer that you want to work with. So part of your questions when you're talking to them about how they work will be, ask them to talk you through their process. How do they approach it? What are the stages? What will you see at different stages? That kind of thing is just getting an understanding of, so that you can make sure that they're a proper designer, not someone doing logos on
Yeah.
either.
Great. Okay. Fabulous. Thank you.
Good stuff. What a juicy call we've had today. Have I answered everyone's questions before I wrap up? I have, haven't I? I think. Yeah. I enjoyed that. That was a nice, juicy, meaty call with lots of really good questions and lots of stuff to think about. I would encourage you all on Advice Lounge Day to put a little bit of time in your diary the next day or later on the same day or in that week to, particularly if you're coming with a particular question, to reflect on what we've talked about and maybe do the thing that has come out from the call, because I know I'm guilty myself of sometimes going to these things and then going, great idea, writing it in my notebook, putting my notebook on the shelf and then not actually doing anything with it. So that's one way of making sure it happens. But I'm very excited to see all the stuff that's going to be going on over the next few weeks, and have an amazing holiday, Kyla. We will see you in the middle of February.
Where are you going, Kyla?
Costa Rica, and then on to a tiny little island off the coast of Nicaragua.
That sounds so
special.
exciting.
Dreamy.
Yeah, it's a proper big amazing holiday. So
It's a shame to be going now because the weather's so good here at the
I
moment.
know, I was just looking at that. My dog walk's going to be delightful.
yeah, it's going to be
So
brilliant.
jealous.
Yeah, and she's going to come back all relaxed and
Yeah.
tan
You
looking.
have an amazing
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a brilliant time.
Shall do.
And I will see the rest of you next week, hopefully. All right. Take care, guys. See you
Thanks,
soon.
Bye,
Kay.
thanks everyone.
Thanks a lot.
Kyla.